Yeah, so I met Deborah. Thank you all for coming, and thank you so much for sharing that trailer. It's fantastic, inspiring. I met Deborah about over 25 years ago, and we've been friends since. I was her yoga teacher and acupuncturist. And I believe that when we first met, you had just started sailing. Is that right?
I think so. Right.
And how did sailing change your life?
Well, like I said there, I kept trying to fit in. You know, you have to excuse me, but there are new updates, and I can't figure out how to silence my phone. Help me. So, first of all, I started sailing at Shake a Leg, Miami, which Harry Horgan is the founder. I met Will Ray. Will is the captain of the Impossible Dream and the CEO right now. And I met Will. He was volunteering at Shake a Leg, and I learned how to sail at Shake a Leg. I never sailed before my injury. And for the first 20 years of my injury, I was in a car accident in Italy, I kept trying to fit into my old life. I just tried to fit into my old life, and I never could, and I was always missing something, and I never could be that same person. And one day I was taken to Shake a Leg by Barth Green, my surgeon, and I was introduced to sailing, and I never sailed before my injury. And I felt free. I felt purposeful. I started volunteering there. Then Claire met Ed London. And so the only boat the size of Impossible Dream that I ever was on before was Ed London's boat, and the way I got on is he would carry me on his back, on and off. He was very strong, but that's how we did it. And one year we got stuck on the boat. But it's from having the dream, I'm completely myself, and I also have a purpose, and I find that life with a purpose is really what enriches life. And the way the dream grew, it just happened organically, and now we take out about 1,400 people every year. People with all different, thank you. And nobody pays to come on the Impossible Dream. And our the main thing that we do is we go up and down the East Coast every summer for 5 months. So we go from Miami to Maine and back, and we take people with disabilities out of hospitals, from rehab organizations, and we take them sailing. And well, Will explain the part that is the crew and how the crew works on our boat and how it works together with the new patients that we take out, as in mentorship, and how our volunteer crew works. Could you explain that?
How many crew do you have on? Perhaps you should tell them about the boat, how big it is.
Oh, the Impossible Dream, good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming. The Impossible Dream is a 58-foot sailing catamaran that was designed from the ground up, from a blank piece of paper, to be wheelchair accessible. It was built by an Englishman. He was injured in a skiing accident, and he built this boat. And 10, 11 years ago, Deborah Mellon and Harry Horgan went to England, and Mike Brown had owned the boat for 12, 14 years, and he had it up for sale. And they sat down with him around a round table and a bottle of Jameson, and they struck a deal. And they brought the boat to the United States and created this foundation. So that is the basis of the organization, is the boat. And the boat itself is an amazing piece of equipment that is such an incredible achievement of accessible design. It has hydraulic lifts to get down into the hulls, hydraulic lifts to get onto the boat, all the adaptive features that make it saleable by people in wheelchairs. Not to mention the fact that you can get around the entire vessel in a wheelchair, which is unheard of on a boat of that size, sailing boat, anywhere in the world. So that's the vessel, and the vessel is the basis of the foundation. And then Harry and Deborah and Harry created this foundation because they wanted to give that gift, that experience of sailing to everybody. And so people didn't have to experience this barrier or this problem, if you will. When you go sailing with your friends and you're in a wheelchair, you get picked up, like Deborah said, and they put you in the cockpit, and everybody's very loving, but it's not the same thing.
You can't move.
Yeah, as opposed to being able to just roll on the boat, go and get yourself a glass of water if you want, go up to the steering wheel and steer the boat, go downstairs and go to sleep if we're on longer legs. And so really the boat is the conduit through which the dream can happen. So what we do is we sail up to Maine every year, and we stop in somewhere between 18 and 20 ports, and we take out people with disabilities and their family. And traveling with us, helping us crew the boat on this trip, are people with disabilities. So they will come with us and they will stand watch, drive the boat, trim the sails, cook dinner, clean up afterwards. And we are a crew. And we, when we leave Miami, it's 4 days to Chesapeake Bay without stopping, 24/7. And we're on 4-hour watches, and we're just, taking turns at the wheel, and everybody takes their turn. And then when we get to port, our sailors, our guest sailors, are able to talk to the people who come on the boat, our guests for the day. We do 2 or 3 hour sails with people from a rehab hospital or from a local organization. And they're able to share their experience on the boat, and just that perspective of being able to do something that, like Deborah said, she never thought she was going to get to do something like this.
It gets you out of the dark, and that you see that other people are living with these injuries and these disabilities, and it gives hope, And the other thing, as we'll describe, the impossible dream is all about design, and what makes the world inaccessible for us is design. And it's a very simple thing, and she's a symbol of design, and that accessible design like that only makes things more beautiful. It doesn't make it worse. It doesn't make it uglier. It makes it more beautiful, and it makes it more comfortable for everybody. Harry, anything to say there?
Well, Deborah had a dream. And we had talked about getting a bigger boat at Shake a Leg, like a flagship boat. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Deborah, whatever you want to do, I'll be here. And she went on Google, found this boat over in England, and all of a sudden she said, I've just sent you some plane tickets, I'll meet you in London. And here we are, both in our wheelchairs, over to Heathrow, and then we have to drive 4 hours to Plymouth on the wrong side of the road. And
we couldn't get in and out of the car because our wheelchairs were behind and we couldn't reach them.
And when we came to the boat, this is like in November, so it's cold for us Miami people. And Deborah started, the tears were coming down her eyes, and we're just looking down at the boat. And she says, I can't believe we're doing this, number one, and look at that beautiful boat. And it was her, and has been her passion to help other people. And you've said, you've been successful in life, I'd like to give back. And that's what she did. I was at that table with the scotch, and the way Deborah negotiated with the owner, and he started crying a little bit, and we're saying, what's going on, Mike? And he goes, it was my dream when I built this boat that would turn it over to a group that would get people out on the water. So it's been really exciting.
And they've been unfortunately, Mike Brown died 2 years ago, but between him, his wife, the architect of Impossible Dream is Nick Bailey. And Nick Bailey designed the cars on the London Eye. And if you know the Eye, the cockpit of our boat is very similar. and the boat builders. We're all in touch. Nick Bailey and Mike have come to Shake Lake to Miami, have sailed on the boat, have stayed at my home. The boat builders, once in a while, Will is still calling them when we're doing stuff and and they are so thrilled of the legacy that we're giving to this vessel. We're all very attached to her.
Tell us how the movie came about, soon to be.
So the documentary came about. I met a woman, a filmmaker, that had heard through a mutual friend of ours, had heard about The Impossible Dream. And she came and met me and said, "Can I come and shoot?" And I said, "Okay." And she's been shooting for 3 years. And originally, the idea was just to follow us in a race and really show the sexier side of what we do. But by being with us for these 3 years and watching us take out patients from hospitals and watching what it does to people, she became more involved. And so in the film, she decided to follow myself and 2 other people, one young woman that had been recently injured and a Paralympic sailor, a double amputee, Bradley. And slowly the film started developing in that way. And the film is completely shot now. It's finished. And she just got back today from Sundance. And she was working with, I wrote it down because she just told me, but at Sundance, there are people at Sundance there. Sundance, it's not just to go and watch films, but it's a trade show also, and that's why she went. And so she met people that are social impact, filmmaker space, and entertainment to affect change. And entertainment to affect change in their presentation used this film to show what they were about. And it looks like we're going to be able to finish this film shortly. So I'm really, really happy about that. And we've also started a program on the boat, which the Media Lab.
Yeah, we're doing, we call it Impossible Dream Media Lab, and we bring filmmakers on the boat, aspiring young filmmakers, and we
With
do
disabilities.
with disabilities. We do a little workshop with them, and then we take the boat out for 2 or 3 hours, and they make a little film. And we just published or broadcast our first edition. So there's 5 films on our Instagram that you guys can go watch from young filmmakers who are disabled, and they have a platform to show their work, and we plan to be having 2 or 3 of these a year to help develop these guys, to give them the possibility of being filmmakers, successful commercial filmmakers, or whatever their goals are in the industry.
What's the Instagram address?
It's Impossible Dream Catamaran.
Do you stay in touch with the people that come out on the boat?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we've got, like every year when we go up and down the East Coast, we see all our friends. We're in touch all year. They come down here. We've made incredible friendships, and it's the light of my life, really. And just being with younger people and people that have younger injuries. I've been injured for 35 years, so I'm a little seasoned. And watch, if when I was in my original acute rehab, and something like I had an opportunity for something like this, it would have been a lot different for me. I had no opportunity like this. It was all very dark. And rehab hospitals at that time, everything was in the basement. If they took you out, it was, I don't know, to show you how to get on a bus, or and it's changing, and Impossible Dream is part of that change.
Yeah, and the first year, we're heading north, and we make it up to Maine, and it was the 25th anniversary of the ADA. And so we reached out to President George H.W. Bush and invited him for a sail to thank him.
He signed the ADA.
Yeah, and as Deborah was saying, he comes on board, security, detail, in a wheelchair, and then Barbara's in her walker with her big pearls, big hat, and they were so happy. And so here's Georgie, as she called him, with this big smile as Will's right next to him and he's driving the boat, and Secret Service says, "Oh, I think, Mr. President, it's time to go back in," and he just kept driving. But the smile on his face is as big as the smile on a 9-year-old kid
Right.
that gets behind the wheel. So this is creating the dreams that are all possible.
Yep.
How do you get funding?
Our funding, we have a few areas of funding. One area of funding is we get sponsorship from various rehabilitation hospitals up and down the coast. We get donations from disability organizations. We have corporate donors. We have crowd fundraising, and we have grants. So we apply for grants and get funding from there also. And it's the most difficult part. Any business and especially any nonprofit, funding is the most difficult part. I funded the purchase of the boat, and whenever it's in trouble, I come and save it. But we've been doing pretty well, but we could always use more.
I think we have some questions.
How do you select the people that come to stay on the boat to go for the journey?
Yeah, so let me go
Oh.
to the mic. Oh, you.
Yeah, I think I can answer that. It's really the people who want to the most. Usually when we take a group out in any given port, we'll take 20 people out. Some people are really just, their eyes light up, and they keep asking questions, and they say, how do I get on the boat? And that's really how we find the people, because we can't just have somebody come that we've never met before and spend 3 days on the boat. They have to be on the boat, go up and down the lifts, and kind of be sure that they can live on the boat, because it's not a given that you can just roll onto it and spend 3 or 4 days, and they have to be comfortable with the idea. So they find us, really.
For instance, I just want to say, last night, there's the Miami Marathon this weekend, and Challenged Athletes supports disabled athletes that are doing the marathon. And last night, we hosted them on the Impossible Dream. And there were 3 athletes there that could very easily be part of our crew. Yeah, and they asked, all 3 of them, yeah. So, and that happens often.
Also, in addition to the crew that is coming in to stay, I imagine that you bring medical personnel or somebody to help out in case of an emergency?
We don't bring medical personnel, but we have our captain and our first mate who are fully abled, are non-disabled. We have a doctor on call, and we make sure everybody's healthy when they get on. Accidents can always happen. Has not happened to us yet, but we're prepared. We have a full medical kit, and we have access immediately to medical personnel.
And also, the hospitals that we work with,
Right.
they select the patients that come on board. Spalding, in particular, up in Boston, they're bringing people out that have just had an injury. And taking the patient out along with their family is a great way to empower the whole family that you can get through this.
And the patients that are fresher and not as seasoned come on either with a family member or a physical therapist from the hospital.
How many on the group?
The crew varies from 4 to 6. Yeah, yeah. We've got, the boat has 4 cabins, 2 lavatories, 2 bathrooms, a full kitchen, and easy to live on.
Can you remind me how long you've had the boat, how long you've been doing this?
Yeah, so we went to England in November of 2013 and brought the boat over in 2014. And I made a 501c3, a nonprofit of it in 2014.
So in this time, are you considering other trips, other parts of the world?
Well, something that we haven't discussed yet is that. So we have sailed to Quebec with the tall ships. We were part of a tall ship. So we sailed to Quebec, then we went back with them to Halifax, Nova Scotia. They crossed over and we came down. We have raced to Isla Mujeres, Mexico. I wish the Cubans were here because we did the Conch Republic. We raced to Cuba. So we raced to Veradero, Cuba, and then we raced up to Havana, and we stayed in Hemingway Marina there. Where else have we have been to in the Bahamas on Marsh Island, a place called, and we went to see, there's a school there started by a Bahamian woman called Every Child Counts, and we went there, and we went with a friend of ours who's a dancer in a wheelchair, and we did dance lessons, and then they had a Junkanoo band, and the band came on our boat, and we went around the harbor, and everyone in Marsh Harbor got in their dinghies and followed us around, and so we try to do outreach like that.
I just want to say that I can't wait to see the final film because it's so beautifully shot. It's so inspiring. I really hope we show it here first. No,
Okay.
to show it whenever
Okay.
it's ready, whenever you feel it's ready. My comment was that feeling just from that trailer that you're talking about, this sensation of living your life. And it's also this idea of impulsing your own movement and
Right.
impulsing your own life, which many years ago when I was in Chile, I started a small foundation to distribute adapted tricycles to kids because they don't have those
Right.
there. But because I had seen a documentary, it was from a TV news, of a little girl with cerebral palsy on an adapted tricycle because she's impulsing her own movement. And that feeling of freedom, it still gives me chills.
Exactly.
That's what I
Exactly.
love. And that's what I love about your work.
Thank you. Someone once asked me in an interview, why is it that people with disabilities need to be on the water? And my answer was, everyone needs to. We just don't have the opportunity. And people are shocked sometimes when they see us, when we come into a port and we get all the wheelchairs on the bow, and people never thought about people in wheelchairs on a boat in that way. And it completely changes your perception. And that's what we're doing. And we just completed our 10th year of going up and down the coast. And we've changed a lot of perceptions. And we even, some of the marinas that we go to have changed and made them more accessible for us. So we're really changing awareness about design.
Hi, how you doing today? Thank you for screening the trailer to all of us. And my question is, as far as education, do you share with the crew members that you pick up at these various hospitals how to rig the sails and how to navigate with the wind, and if a storm's coming, how does that work? Thank you.
Yeah, we do a little briefing before we go. The real education is for the people who spend 2 and 3 days on the boat. Our guests for 2 or 3 hours, we show them the boat, the lifts, how you're getting up and down. We don't really do, although that is a great idea to do an actual sailing lesson, right, with diagrams and how you work upwind. But we impart as much information as we can. There's so much going on, and really it's about them having a day on the water for our guests from the hospital or from whatever organization. Now, we do other kinds of trips where we do chair yoga on the boat with a live stream broadcast to people all over the country. We do some racing, and then we get more into the education of sailing.
And we have, like, for instance, one of our sailors that sails with us all the time, the first time he came on the boat, we went from Coconut Grove to Fort Lauderdale, and we were going to sleep over, and he took a taxi home. And he has since been on the boat and works on the boat on the helm for 4 weeks at a time. So when people get the opportunity to be crew on the boat, they learn. I learned. I'd never sailed a boat like that.
Yeah. Thank you guys for allowing us to preview that.
Thank you.
We're excited for what's to come, and as Isabel mentioned, I hope you'll let us share it with everybody here once the final product is done.
Absolutely.
Well, if anyone wants to go for a sail on the Impossible Dream,
Right.
Oh, look at that.
we would
Okay.
love to
Yeah.
to get you out.
We can we can organize something.
There you go.
You get it put out in
Contact
you
me.
yes.
We're VIPs on the Impossible Dream. Yeah.
That would be lovely. It would be great. It's well, there we go. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
guys.
you're in.
So we will continue tonight's films. We're going to be screening the winners in each category tonight, just across the way at Paradise Park, where we were opening night, and that's scheduled to start checking in now at 5. So you can walk on over there, and the night continues.